Hey, what's up, everybody? Chicago Gooner here, bringing you another Arsenal talk. In this Arsenal talk, I'll be talking about the first Champions League playoff game against Besiktas, and then also the upcoming game against Everton. The game against Besiktas was just ridiculous. The complaints I would have right from the get-go was of what you could see right from the get-go was how bad the pitch was. I've seen better pitches and better fields and recreational parks. You could tell of how much effort the players had to put in just to get something on the ball. And you saw Besiktas, they did a lot of over the top balls and a lot of aerial balls just to pass the ball. Just so they could have some type of chance because they knew, they set up that field for Arsenal to fail. It was just, I know it's kind of maybe like a poor excuse, but at the same time, no pitch should ever be like that for any type of game. I know, in international play, and of course, as you see in club play, that some international teams and also some club teams actually do that when they're facing a tougher opposition to slow them down and to slow down their passing and just slow down their rhythm altogether. I think it's kind of ridiculous that they allow this type of stuff to go on when a team is just outclassed and outmatched. And it was just a difficult game to watch because of that. Just looking at that pitch, and it's August, and there's brown spots, and I understand that Turkey is a warm climate, but to see how terrible that pitch was. In the beginning of a season, and brown spots, and players slipping, you know huge divots from left from players' boots and spikes and everything like that, and it's just kind of ridiculous that they allow some type of that. It's kind of like handicapping your opponent. And giving them a harder time to where how the pitch is playing and everything like that. Um, if it was any other circumstance, if it was like a normal pitch, maybe something like the Emirates or another EPL side, uh, you know, if it was a normal pitch, I'd be like, okay, I'm kind of worried about the return leg again at the Emirates, but as we all know, the Emirates has been voted on for many years now as one of the best pitches, if not the best pitch in the EPL, and one of the best pitches just in the world because it's so well taken care of. As people like to call it, it's like a nice carpet. It's a soft carpet, and the ball travels. It travels at the speed that you want it to, and of course, Arsenal likes to play fast, and I think things are just going to be completely different, even without Aaron Ramsey. It's just going to be a completely different game. Um, because let's hope that Mesut Ozil is ready up and going by then. Because I guess you can kind of see in that game and even the Crystal Palace game of how good he is and how he just bosses that midfield and how he takes control of the game and how he just controls the game. And he is, as we would say here in America, he's the quarterback. And you could see how important he is just through the last two games and even through the preseason of how important he is and how good he is and how much of a world-class player he is. Um, to going through the game as well, the other complaint I have is the formation. We need a formation change. I don't know what Arsene Wenger is thinking. I don't know what he thought that this was a good idea, but going away from we've been playing in the 4-2-3-1 for a long time now, and to go away from that all of a sudden, especially in the beginning of the season and a shortened preseason, it's ridiculous. When you have wingers sitting on the bench who can actually play on the wing, who knows how to play the wing, and you don't have them out there, it's cause for concern. It's cause for concern, especially after that Crystal Palace game of how, yeah, of course, okay, we had tons of possession, but we had very limited chances to score. And in this game, it was just as bad. Uh, you know, it was almost like the midfield was too congested because uh, Jack, Ramsey, even Arteta, they were clashing too much. They were getting in each other's ways, and Jack didn't know if he should press forward. Ramsey didn't know when he should press forward. I mean, I think near, like in the second half, Ramsey just said, "Screw it, I'm just going to start pressing forward as much as I possibly can," um, because that formation just doesn't work, especially with Santi on the left side. It just this is like one of the worst. This is like back-to-back games now that this is like some of the worst play I've ever seen him play, especially in an Arsenal shirt. I mean, his play over the last two games has been atrocious, to the point that one, he shouldn't play against Everton. Number two, he shouldn't even be on the bench. I mean, that's how bad he's playing throughout these last two games. And the formation, I think, is one of the problems, is because when a team is when a team and players are used to a a certain formation of a 4-2-3-1, and they're used to of how everybody moves and the positioning and the flow of the game of how it's supposed to be. If Ramsey knows exactly when he should push forward. It's just kind of ridiculous that the formation changed right at Crystal Palace when players are so used to a certain formation. And it's not like we don't have players to play the positions. Last season we had to, force, unfortunately, Santi Cazorla to play on the left side. Thomas Rosicky even play on the wings sometimes. Jack Wilshere, Aaron Ramsey, they had to play on the wings sometimes because all of our wingers were hurt. At one time, the Ox was hurt, Lucas, Theo was hurt. Everybody was hurt on the wings that could play the wings, and who knew how to play the wings. All you have to do is look at Alexis Sanchez's play in comparison to Santi Cazorla, not the overall play, but how he plays the wings. You could see Sanchez hugging that touchline, trying to spread out the defense, especially the back four, and trying to create more space for others. And Santi just doesn't do that. He's he's kind of like Mikel Arteta, to where, he's an attacking midfielder, but he's asked to play on the wings. And when you're an attacking midfielder, you have a license to roam around. You don't have an actual set position to where you need to be here during a game at all times. Much like maybe like a winger or a striker or a defensive midfielder or such. And he gets in people's way. He got in people's way so many times in that game on Tuesday that I was just like pulling my hair out almost watching him play. From the times where he would just get in other people's way, he would take other people's space. He gave the ball away a ton. He couldn't control the ball for shit. I think that's due to also the pitch, because a lot of players could not control the ball like they want to, like they're normally like they normally do. And it was just frustrating to watch. And one of the problems is the formation. Santi Cazorla can play that attacking midfield number 10. That's his natural position. That's his position he's played all of his life up until last year, basically. So he can play that role. You have Oxlade-Chamberlain and even Joel Campbell sitting on the bench. Wingers who know how to play the wing sitting on the fucking bench. When you have Cazorla can play that number 10 role. You have the Ox who could play on the left side. Then you had Sanchez on the right. And then, of course, you just put Ramsey and then Arteta right next to each other. And that's the way you play. That's the way that you should play. There should be no type of formation change whatsoever, especially going into a new season, especially going into a shortened preseason where you just don't have the time to try the formation out to see if it works, because it doesn't work. It does not work. And if you couldn't see that after the Crystal Palace game, then I don't know what to say. Because if Arsene Wenger's sitting there, Steve Bold and the rest of the staff is sitting there and saying this works, then they are fucking out of their mind. Because if we see that formation on Saturday, we're fucked. We are completely fucked, because it just doesn't work. Players don't know what to do. Like I said, sometimes Jack didn't know when to go forward. Ramsey didn't know when to go forward. Sometimes they butted heads. They clashed right in the midfield because it was so congested. And there was no kind of spacing open. There was no passing lanes. Drew didn't have the best game. I mean, he had a pretty shitty game. Altogether, of course, you see on Twitter now everybody's calling for his head and get him out of the club, which was ridiculous. I mean, the guy is still trying to come back. You could see that I think it seems like Arsenal has taken a different step as far as other clubs go. A lot of other clubs, a lot of players who even had deep runs into the World Cup came back a lot sooner than say the Germans, say the French players did for us, and you could see it. You could see Koscielny. I mean, oh my God, he shouldn't be out there. You can see how that Achilles injury is affecting him, and you could see throughout the game that he was limping a few times. He had to not, push down on his foot because you could tell it was bothering him throughout the game. And one thing you don't want to do is push a guy out there, even though a player might say, yeah, I'm good to go. It's only going to make matters worse. It's only going to make the injury worse. Of course, Mikel Arteta got injured, sprained ankle. They said he'll be out 2 to 3 weeks. I'm banking more on 3 weeks. Basically, him being out. It's kind of unfortunate when you looked on Twitter after the game and people are saying, I hope he's injured for the rest of the year. That's kind of ridiculous. I mean, yeah, I bag on him for how he plays, but I never wish one of our own players to be out for the entire fucking season. That's childish. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't be calling yourself a fan. You shouldn't be calling yourself an Arsenal fan if you wish that one of our own players gets hurt for the rest of the year. It's really childish. It's really immature, and it's kind of disgusting to hear something like that from our own fan base talking about one of our own players. If you want to criticize his play, but don't wish an injury on a player. You saw that even on Monday when Chelsea was playing, that people were hoping that Cesc Fabregas tore his ACL. I mean, come on, guys, seriously. I mean, that's just so immature. I don't care how much you hate a person. I mean, that's disgusting. It really is, and it just puts us in a bad spot. It makes other fans look upon us and basically like laugh at us. It makes us look like shit as a fan base when fans are out there saying, "Oh, I wish he would get hurt. I wish he would get hurt, or I wish he would be out for the rest of the season." I mean, that's it's kind of karma, I guess. You deal with all of our injuries that we've had over the last 4, 5, 6 years, and who knows, maybe that's karma biting us in the ass because some of our own fan base are wishing that our players get hurt. But he's due back about like 2 or 3 weeks. Kieran Gibbs' injury from Crystal Palace, they said he'll be out for about 2 or 3 weeks as well. Like I said before, the guy just can't stay healthy, unfortunately. A lot of them are calling him Diaby Part 2, and it's a real shame to see him get hurt again. But just like going back to the game, it's just like we couldn't do anything. Thank God for that back four, because that back four was, even though that they didn't have a ton of chances, when they did, it was scary sometimes. And thank God, Chambers again. I mean, that kid is going to be amazing in a few years' time. That kid's going to be, I mean, he's going to be one of the better defenders in the EPL. England's got to be drooling right now that the kid is playing as well as he is at 19 years old. He's 19 years old and he's playing like he's basically in his late 20s, where he's a seasoned veteran almost, and he just doesn't have any fear, it seems like. And it's great to see that type of player, and it's great to see that the future that kid's going to have. I talked about Koscielny a little bit. Monreal didn't have exactly the best games, but he wasn't able to really get forward. He wasn't really able to really do anything because of Santi's play. Santi's play was just atrocious. I think the entire game, I think Monreal had one cross, and that one cross should have been connected on by Giroud, and Giroud just completely whiffed on it. And I mean, it was a world-class cross. I mean, it was perfect, perfect pace, perfect curve on it. Altogether, it was just a beautiful ball, and of course, Drew just couldn't get on the end of it. Um, Debussy played well. He played physical. He tried to get himself involved. Again, he just Sanchez, which is I thought he played well. The fact that that he was like the first person off was ridiculous. I thought he should have stayed on. I thought Santi should have been off even by halftime. Um, I'm sure a little, Arteta's injury put a little snag into our plans, of course. But Santi should have never been on the pitch after that first half, because that first half was atrocious. The second half was even worse. He just could not do anything right, and the fact that he didn't come off until the 90th minute when Rosicky came on was, it was almost like a joke watching that. The fact that Arsene Wenger kept him on the pitch. Um, he's like, I don't know if he has that type of thought to where it might just click at some point, but nothing was clicking for him. And in the fact that Diox came on for Sanchez, I mean, it was just, it was hands in the face. It was like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you seeing? Um, you know, we're not experts in football, but we can see of how bad a player is playing on the TV. And Arsene Wenger is actually sitting there on the sidelines watching the entire game. He has the best view of anybody, and he couldn't see that Santi was playing that bad, and it causes for concern. Um, and like I said, honestly, if Santi's playing, Saturday, uh, I don't know what to say. He shouldn't be playing. He shouldn't even be on the bench. He should just be told to stay home completely. Get his head clear. Get something. After that Community Shield game, you're like, okay, we might see the form of the 12 and 13 season from Santi Cazorla, but all of a sudden the Crystal Palace game happens, and this is his worst two games that I've seen him play, and he shouldn't be playing at all. He shouldn't even be on the bench. I don't care of how depleted, as they say, our bench is right now because of Gibbs being out and now Arteta going to be out. And you know, keep him off the pitch, keep him away, because something's not right with him. He just doesn't look good at all right now. He shouldn't be playing. Because at halftime, I thought for sure, take Sandy off, bring the Ox on. Even at one time, I was praying for Joel Campbell to come into the game just for something different from Giroud, because Giroud he was just as bad. Those two guys were just as bad. They were the worst players in the game by far. Szczesny had to pull off a couple decent saves, especially the first few seconds of the game that he was off his line. I can promise you he won't be doing that ever again. He'll be on his line or within a couple of yards of his line at the start of every game from the rest of the season on, because that would have been absolutely embarrassing to be scored upon like that in the first few seconds of the game. I mean, that would have been like, I would have just turned the TV off after that, instead of just watching it, because that would have been just absolutely embarrassing if that went in. Of course, he made a couple other good saves. The one, of course, the nice volley that Denver Ba had. He had to be on top of his game for that. So, luckily we had him in goal. Obviously, at least through the rest of the game. But the first few seconds of the game was almost a nightmare. But all in all, it was just, we couldn't play our game. The pitch was too slow. The referee again was terrible. The red card that he gave Aaron Ramsey was a joke. Batidas was doing some of the same shit that we were doing. That they were calling fouls on us, and that we were getting yellow cards and everything like that. And they would just get a warning. Every time. It was a poor refereeing job, and especially that Aaron Ramsey red card was just absolutely ridiculous. Of course, like 2 minutes later, the opposition does the same thing. They pull Jack Wilshere down from behind. No yellow card. No nothing. And it was just like, what the fuck? If you're going to be a referee, you have to be consistent with your calls. If something, I mean, of course, maybe you forget about a foul that was, a foul in, say like the 10th minute of the game. But when they're back to back, when they're within minutes of each other, and you don't get a yellow card for the same exact thing, you know, they got to clean that shit up. Um, but as Arsenal as a whole, they have to really clean up their play because it's not looking good right now, especially going up to Everton. Um, you kind of see of these first two games of how badly we miss Mesut Ozil. How badly we miss Theo Walcott up on the wings. I can't wait till we get those two guys back. It seems like that Ozil might be playing against Everton. He might be starting against Everton. I think he has to almost. Of course, you don't want him to because he doesn't have any game time. He's probably not even. He's maybe at this point maybe 80 or 90% match fit. Same with Per Mertesacker. He might end up playing on Saturday as well because I don't think you can truck Koscielny out there. I mean, I just don't think you can do it just because of the simple fact that he just didn't. He could run and everything, but there was times where you just held your breath because sometimes he pulled his foot up, and you could see that injury is a concern. And I hope Mertesacker is ready to go because I think that Koscielny needs that rest, already this early in the season to heal up. Because that's nothing that you want to screw around with, that Achilles, because, one bad move, I mean, if you tear that Achilles, you're done for the year. There's no coming back from that. And that's like one of the more serious injuries that you could possibly have. That's like an ACL injury. You get that ACL injury, you're basically done for the whole year. So I wish, I hope for, this coming Saturday, that you might see, Diak starting. It seemed I wouldn't doubt that Sanchez will be playing. I hope the formation is a 4-2-3-1 because his 4-3-3 just doesn't work. You're going to see Flamini, of course, playing at the DM role because Arteta is going to be out for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Which I would prefer just because he is a little bit more physical. He's a little bit more vocal on the pitch. He gets players, he yells at players, and he gets people organized. But again, we need to come out firing. We need to come out like we want it. We need to come out like we did in the Community Shield game and just take it to them, from the first second on, because the way we're playing right now, it's going to be a repeat of last year up at Goodison Park. I know Lukaku, he didn't look all that great in the opening game last weekend. Morales looked, I think they still had that little bit of a World Cup hangover. Ross Barkley is out, obviously. I think he's out. He's going to be out for something like possibly 5 months. I know they're reevaluating his injury, but they said it's a possibility he might be out for 5 months. That's kind of crazy, especially of a young talent like him. Of course, that benefits us, obviously, for him not to be playing, but it's kind of a shame to see him get hurt and be out there for that long. But we need to come out against this in this Everton game, remember what happened last year, and really just take a hold of the game and play to the best of our ability, because right now we're not. Because again, like the formation, I mean, you just put, if Santi plays, he better be playing in that number 10 role. He better be playing because he's just not fit to play on the wings. He just doesn't know how to play it. Because again, like a lot of times you saw in the first leg that he was all the way on the right side of the pitch, and it's like, what are you doing over there? How do you even know how to play the wing? Do you even know how to stretch the field? And he just doesn't do it. And he better be playing that number 10 role if he's playing at all. He shouldn't be playing at all. My starting 11, I would like to see, honestly, just for the hell of it, just to see something new, is to put Joel Campbell up top. or Sanchez, one of the two. You could put Sanchez up top at the striker. You could put the Ox on the right side. You could put Joel Campbell on the left side. Um, you could put Jack at the number 10 unless Ozil is going to be starting and playing. Of course, you can only expect Ozil to go probably 60 minutes, maybe 65 minutes. And of course, you have Ramsey, Flamini. Then the back four would be Debuchy, Chambers, probably Mertesacker, and then Monreal. Um, One thing that's scaring me right now is Bellerin going to be the backup right back for the season. Um, because I think they're probably hoping for Chambers to be the backup right back for Debuchy, but that's really scaring the shit out of me right now because what if Debuchy gets hurt all of a sudden and Mertesacker's not ready to go, Koscielny goes out. Who do we have for cover? That's why in these last, God, what do we have left here? We have about a week and a half now until the window slams shut. We need another center half. That much is evident right now. I know they're probably going to use the excuse that, well, Mertesacker's just coming back from his World Cup, but we need another one. Because if you're banking on Chambers to be one of the backup center halves, one of the backup right backs, you still need one more person there. You just need it. So they need to get that done in the next. They should already have it done. Why they're taking this long is beyond me. It seems like we had a target in Costas, at least as far as the media said, but the fact that we're looking thin, especially in our defense, again for the second straight year, is concerning, and it should be getting done, regardless of saying, well, we have to, the money has to be right. Right now, the money shouldn't matter. If they want 10 million for Costas, pay it. Get them into the side, because we're looking thin. We're looking way too thin right now, as far as the defense goes, because Gibbs is out. What if Monreal goes out? Who do we have as a left back? No one. I mean, Flamini would be our third backup left back right now. So it's really cause for concern. Are they doing any type of plans for, say, a possible loan move? I've been hearing some of that lately, that they're possibly trying to get some people on loan. But, we have the money to go out there and buy these players. Stop fucking around and just start buying these players, because it just doesn't make any sense to me. It really just doesn't. That we're this thin, and knowing that we're this thin, especially in the beginning of the season, we need to get these guys in. We need to buy these players regardless of the money, because we have the money to do it. We have the money to spend, and this is something that we just do not want to see again. We had to go through that last year. Do we want to win the league? Do we want to compete in Champions League? We have to do that with the right amount of squad depth, and the fact that if we do get an injury, that we have someone else that's capable of coming in and filling that role. So it's really concerning right now as far as looking at our defensive squad depth right now, because we have enough squad depth up front and everything like that. But I really want to see at least two more defensive players come in this window and really contribute and compete and just get that squad depth up to the right number that we need. But like I said, in the going on to the Everton game, we need to, like I said in my season preview, we need to treat that game as a revenge game. We need to remember what happened. We got embarrassed up there in Goodison Park last season. We need to look at that game and say, you know what, this is the one game that we're going to be looking forward to. This game, Chelsea, Liverpool, we're looking forward to those games, and we want to win these games this time. We want to compete in these games this time. And the one way to do that was we need to switch up our formation, because that 4-3-3 just does not work. And having Jack and Ramsey, two like-minded players on the pitch at the same time. It just doesn't work. Um, I almost rather see a Rosicky out there rather than either a Jack uh, or somebody, who knows how to play that number 10 role, who knows how to push forward and know when to push forward, because that's what you expect out of one of your three midfielders, and they just didn't do it. They just didn't do it enough. I know, like I said, Aaron Ramsey tried to do that more in the second half of the game, but by then it was just like, it almost seemed like some of the players were just tired. They had dead legs. And of course it was due to the pitch as well. Um, so I hope they come out with a better attitude this Saturday. Of course, as far as our second leg goes of the Champions League, I'm not really worried. I'm not really worried at all. I know people are trying to say, well, when you have a 0-0 and you don't have that away goal, it's just going to be a completely different ball game. Because Arsenal is going to come out and they're going to be playing on their own pitch, and the ball's going to travel at the exact speed that they want it to. So I think it's going to be a completely different game. I think that game, I don't normally do predictions, but I can see like a 3-0 victory for Arsenal. Was it next Wednesday? I believe is the next game to be played, or the second leg. I can see it definitely like a 3-0. Because it's just going to be a completely different ball game. Of course, we're going to have Ozil back for sure, and he's going to be playing in that game if because we need to win that game, of course. But he's going to be playing in that game. Sanchez is going to be playing in that game. Hopefully, the Ox is playing on the wing as well. But hopefully they rotate the squad a little bit, especially up front. I would like to see the Ox on the wing with Sanchez on the other wing, possibly Sanchez up front. Even give Joel Campbell. He's, the kid deserves a shot, regardless of who it's against. The kid deserves a shot, and he deserves to play. And I was really hoping he would get that chance to play, because in all of his Champions League games last year against Olympiacos, he played well. The pressure just doesn't seem to get to that kid, and that's the type of player that you want on the pitch. And I think I think he needs his chance. But that'll probably be it for right now. Still kind of heated from the terrible play and the refereeing and the pitch and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully, coming out of this weekend, hopefully it's 3 points. We move on to the Champions League, the second leg, and we win that game. Because the weekend after that is, I think we play Leicester City. So they look good against Everton, of course. Everton's kind of doing what they do when they start a season. They fill a bunch of their results up with ties or with draws. So if you look at that kind of like Leicester City game, that maybe we can rotate and rest guys for that game, that we can just go all out for the Everton game and of course the second leg. So hopefully it's 3 points this weekend. And then hopefully in that second leg of the Champions League we just blow them out of the water. Because sometimes when our backs are up against the wall, we perform at our best. And that's been the kind of like the trademark of Arsenal Football Club over the years, especially Arsene Wenger sides. So yeah, hopefully it's a good weekend, and hopefully it's some good results. Hopefully it's some good Arsenal play, not this terrible Arsenal play that we've been seeing over the last 2 games. So hopefully they wake up and they play of how they want to play, and they come out strong. But that's it. Enjoy the weekend, and later.